So now, when a person says La ilaha illallah, when a person says La ilaha illallah, this in reality is a nullification of all intermediaries. When a person says La ilaha illallah, this is a nullification of all intermediaries. And in fact, this is why the Mushrikeen, when the Messenger ﷺ said, because they understood the meaning of this kalima, when he said to them, Qulu La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah, this is why they replied, this is why they said, Aja'al al-alihata ilahan wahida, has he now made all of the gods into a single god? Because they knew what this means. It means that when a person says La ilaha illallah, its meaning is that all of these intermediaries, all of these intercessors and everything else that they believe in besides an approach besides Allah, this La ilaha illallah is a nullification of that. So the Mushrikeen, they knew and they understood that. Then Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahhab says, continues, and he says that if you want to know this issue, if you want to know this affair in more detail, if you want to know this affair in a complete way, then this is by knowing two matters. This is by two issues. Then he explains what these two issues are. He says, first of all, the first issue is that you should know that the kuffar whom the Messenger ﷺ fought against and whom he killed and whose wealth and whose women that he declared lawful, that these were people who affirmed for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rububiyyah. They affirmed for him the Tawheed of al-Rububiyyah. And this is that Allah, there is no one who creates or who sustains or who gives life or takes life or who controls the affairs except Allah alone. Just as Allah the Most High says, and then he quotes the verse, قُلْ مَنْ يَرْزُقُكُمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَمَّنْ يَمْلِكُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارِ وَمَنْ يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ وَمَنْ يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرِ فَسَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهُ. Say, who is the one who provides from the sky and the earth, and who is the one who controls the hearing and the seeing, and who is the one who brings the living from the dead and the dead from the living, and who is the one who controls the affair? They will soon say Allah. Surah Yunus, Surah 10, verse 31. So these people, the worshippers of the graves, if we look at the people in our time, the worshippers of the graves, they say that so long as you acknowledge that Allah is the creator and the provider and the sustainer and the one who gives life and takes life and the one who controls all affairs, then you are a Muslim. So long as you affirm that. So long as any person affirms that, then he's a Muslim. And the Shaykh asks, well, in that case, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah then? What is the actual meaning? It means that it has no meaning. This means now that the actual statement La ilaha illallah has no meaning at all, because the Mushrikeen said the very same thing that they're saying. Mushrikeen affirmed their belief in Allah, in His creatorship, in Him giving life, taking life, and so there's no difference. So this would mean, what is the difference between a Mushrikeen and a Muslim who says this? If that is the meaning, it means there is no difference. So this obviously can't be correct. And then Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahhab continues, and he says that this issue here is a very great and very important matter, and this is that you know that the kuffar whom the Messenger ﷺ that he fought, and that these people, they used to testify and witness all of this. They used to affirm it. Right? So these affairs, they used to affirm all of these affairs. Allah is the creator, the owner, the provider, the sustainer, gives life, takes life, everything else. But alongside all of this, it did not enter them into Islam. It didn't enter them into Islam, and nor did it make unlawful or sanctified their blood or their possessions. And these same people were people who used to give charity, they used to perform Hajj, they used to perform Umrah, they used to worship, and they used to abandon many things which were haram, which were prohibited, out of fear of Allah the Mighty and Majestic. Right? So they had their worship of Allah, they performed, as we've seen, charity, Umrah, worshipping, Hajj, many types of worship. They used to fear Allah and abandon, have some fear of Allah and abandon some of the prohibited things. And all of this did not make them Muslimin. Just because they affirmed that Allah is the creator, no, it didn't make them Muslimin. And the Sheikh Saleh al-Fawzan, he says that this matter is a great matter and very important, commenting upon this passage. And he says that unfortunately there are very few people who concern themselves with this, because these people, like these people who are upon this batil, they say whoever affirms Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, he becomes a Muslim. So because the likes of these people spread this and say that whoever affirms Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is a Muslim, then you find that the Muslimin, they don't really have a great concern with these issues. And they think that just by believing in Allah and affirming these affairs and these actions for Allah alone, that this makes them a Muslim. And then the Shaykh says that the Mushrikun in the Jahiliyyah, in the days of ignorance, they used to affirm Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, and they used to have worship with them like Sadaqah and Hajj and Umrah, and they used to say at the same time, no one creates or provides or gives life or takes life except Allah. And they used to worship with other types of worship, but the issue was that they never used to make their worship sincerely and purely for Allah alone. Rather they worshipped others, rather they worshipped Allah, and they worshipped those besides Allah, and so therefore they became mushrikeen as a result of this. And then the second, so that was the first point that we need to understand, the point that the mushrikeen of the first times, that they affirmed this rububiyyah for Allah, but it never made them Muslimin. And the second point, following on from this now, is that the actual issue that declared them disbelievers, that made them disbelievers, and made lawful their blood and their wealth, was that they did not testify for Allah with Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah or Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah. Right? So that was the issue that made them kuffar and mushrikeen. And the Sheikh Saleh al-Fawzan comments upon this, and he says that this is because this is what is actually intended. Right? By this kalima, this is what is desired, this is what is intended. Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, meaning to single out Allah with worship. And the issue isn't to single out Allah with Tawheed al-Rububiyyah alone, rather both affairs must be present. There must be Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, and when a person affirms this, then this actually leads him, it makes binding upon him Tawheed of Uluhiyyah. So Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah must be present, and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah incorporates Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. And one of them cannot be separated from the other. Then Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahhab continues, and he says, he explains what is this Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. He says, and this is that there is none which is called upon, none which is hoped in, except for Allah alone, without any partners. Meaning that, as Sheikh Saleh al-Fawzan says, the meaning that Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, it contains all of the types of worship. So nothing from them is directed to other than Allah. Why? Because Allah is the only one who is worthy and deserving of them. So whoever directs any of them to other than Allah, then such a person is a mushrik, even if he says La ilaha illallah, even if he worships Allah with all of the various types of worship. Right? So long as he does not purify his worship for Allah and make it sincere for Allah, then this person cannot be a Muslim. So he cannot be a Muslim. It doesn't matter how many acts of worship he does, if he doesn't make it purely for Allah, this person cannot be a Muslim. And Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahhab continues, and he says, to give more examples, and likewise, none besides Allah is sought for rescue, none besides Allah is sacrificed to, none besides Allah has an oath made for him or to him, and neither to a mere angel, and nor to a prophet that has been sent. Right? So all of these actions are for Allah alone. So whoever sought rescue from other than Allah, then he has disbelieved. And whoever sacrificed for other than Allah, he has disbelieved. And whoever made an oath to other than Allah, he has disbelieved. And whatever is similar to that. And the Shaykh comments, he says, meaning that whoever does any of these actions, he disbelieves, even if he says La ilaha illallah. Why? Because this person now, even though he says it, he hasn't actualized it in his actions. He is someone who is contradictory. How can he say La ilaha illallah, whose meaning now that we've clearly understood, which is a negation of everything besides Allah, including intermediaries and intercessors and whatever, and at the same time he sacrifices to other than Allah? How can he do this? How can he say La ilaha illallah and then go and seek rescue from other than Allah, from the dead people, from those people who are not present, from the jinn, from the shayateen. How can he do this? How can he say La ilaha illallah and then make an oath to other than Allah? All of this is a clear contradiction. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop the lesson there for today, and we'll continue with this next week, inshallah ta'ala.